Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Every time a game launches on PC or even on console, you're not really expecting it to be working 100% fine and everything runs fine without any problems. You're expecting a few bugs here and there, and that's what's happening with Red Dead Redemption 2. Except that the problem with Red Dead Redemption 2 is much bigger. The launch is really struggling and having lots of problems. So here you see the requirements that Rockstar Games themselves suggested at first. For the minimum specifications, they're saying that you need an i5 2500K or the AMD equivalent, the FX 6300, 8 memory gigabytes of RAM, and an NVIDIA GTX 770 2GB or an AMD Radeon R9 283 GB. You need an i7 477K or an AMD Ryzen 5 1500X. Here you can see that the game is very dependent on CPU usage, because if you recommend an i7 which is 4 cores and 8 threads, means that the PC needs a lot of CPU headroom for it to work correctly, whereas the GPU here isn't very demanding for recommended specifications. You need a GTX 1060 6GB or an AMD Radeon RX 484GB. These specs are interesting because what's happening in real life is totally different from what you're expecting. Like at first you see here and you think, wow, the game is going to be, really very optimized and working across many generations of CPUs and GPUs without problems, like expecting at least a stable 30 FPS. But the case isn't so. I have been watching a live stream by a gamer and a YouTuber. His name is Santiago. I'm going to leave the link to his channel down in the description below, because he was doing a live stream testing different GPUs for this game, and it's really interesting because what you're going to see shows that these specifications are not really enough for the game to run as expected. Most of the time you're not even going to get that stable 60 FPS. So here we have another picture. And in this picture here, you see that the requirements are a lot higher than what Rockstar Games have suggested. So this is the NVIDIA recommended GPUs for 60 FPS gameplay on Red Dead Redemption 2 on PC. A 1080p you need for high level an RTX 2060. To play on 1440p you need an RTX 2070 Super. And to play on 4K, like a mixture of medium and high, this is not maxed out, it's just a mixture of medium and high, you need an RTX 2080 Ti. And I have read somewhere that if you want to play like maxed out 60 FPS 4K, you need an NVLink of 2 GeForce RTX 2080 Ti's, and that's totally insane. This is one of the most demanding games I have ever heard of. And going back to the bugs, as you can see here, there is a mega thread on Reddit about a lot of issues, because people have been experiencing a lot of issues during their gameplay. They range from CPU spikes to infinite loading screens to FPS drops. It's really a lot here. So you can see here that there are some issues and some suggested fixes that could or could not work, because this is just like community based, and sometimes what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. Here we have like an audio problem, poor quality, no known fix yet. CPU maxing out or causing stuttering and freezing. Yeah, I can see that happening. Some people suggested some fixes like to throttle your CPU usage. So there is this suggestion here to use a program called BES to limit CPU usage, but that program itself isn't easy to use. Then here we have FPS drops on all types of PCs. So here it says for NVIDIA players you need to change your API from Vulkan to DirectX 12, which seems to help, except that on Vulkan this game runs a little bit better, especially for AMD GPUs, from what I have seen in the stream I told you about. Then of course they're telling you to update your drivers. I think that's kinda understandable. Lower all volumetric graphic settings and water quality. And I think this is one of the big culprits in, you know, FPS drops. As someone who plays games like Resident Evil 2 and Monster Hunter World, these games, you know, are very taxing if you turn on volumetric lighting or graphic settings. And then you see here there are a lot of other problems and no fix known yet. There is even crashing issues. You know, some people are suggesting here, as you can see, to update the BIOS, disabling the antivirus. So yeah, it's really a lot here. So here we have some feedback issues from drivers, and that you need to update to the latest version. And you can see here another gamer who's got an i5 9600K, an RTX 27 and 16 GB of RAM, and he still got problems. And here another person who has got an i5 6600K and RTX 2070 Super. You see here, like, even with an RTX 2070 Super, you shouldn't be GPU bound if you're playing on 1440p, and still these people are suffering. I think the situation is going to get better in the future, and that Rockstar Games is going to implement some fixes, and probably it's going to compromise some of the visual or graphical fidelity settings, because that's what also happened in console, if I remember well. Even like on the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, they had to remove some kind of ambient occlusion settings or to lower it, and then the game looked really bad. After the new update, there was a little bit of a performance boost, but still the game didn't look like it used to, and some people weren't happy about it, understandably so. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you again soon. Have a good one.